Now, transitioning from military to civilian life is not simple. You go from working for the collective to, in some cases, being completely on your own. Retired Sergeant General Cheryl LeBlanc served as an aviation systems technician for a decade before moving to Veterans Transition Center in Winnipeg. She's also helped other veterans make that move from the service to civilian life. She also has started writing a book on the challenges of transitioning out of the force, and she joins me right now. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hi.
So I wanted to start with asking you personally, how difficult was your transition out of the armed forces?
I originally left the armed forces from the Reg Force with no preparation plan, which found myself back in uniform about 4 years later as a reservist. And from there, I had a little bit more preparation because I worked at the transition center and helping ill and injured in their transition out of the uniform. But even thinking I was prepared, I am still in the midst of transitioning. It's been 4 years trying to find where I land and how to redefine service outside the uniform.
Yeah, and when you were 21, you recited that Canadian Forces Oath of Allegiance, which all members of the CAF have to do. It's an act that you really have to live by, but you've also spoken in the past about how there isn't really an oath to oneself when you leave the forces. How important is it to have that type of reset when you transition back to civilian life?
I think it's very pivotal. Like when you join the military, that enrollment ceremony is important. You usually have family and friends that are witnessing you. It is kind of like stepping over the line into the uniform. But when you leave, you're kind of left open-ended. There's no training. There's very little support. Veterans Affairs does have some supports for us for sure, but there's no community on the other side. There's no big hurrah. You're given some flowers, maybe a quilt, and off you go. I think it's important to recognize that you made that oath and that you can rewrite an oath to say yourself or your family or your community. And it's really just kind of like stepping back. I kind of like when you watch Survivor, you know how they like snuff out your torch or relight your torch? It's kind of like relighting your torch and bringing your passion back home to yourself and to your family.
So tell me a little bit about the book that you are writing and how you hope that it could help other veterans who are making that transition specifically.
When I was at the transition center, I identified this need for like a reverse basic training, sort of preparing you for life again, bringing you back home to yourself. And there was only so much I could do at the transition center, and I've taken some courses, and like I said, I'm still in that transition phase myself. And I'm writing a book as more of a call to action to other veterans that we don't have to be alone, that we can do this collectively, that we can come together on the other side of the line. It doesn't have to be at the Legion. And the Legion's great. Don't get me wrong, I think the Legion serves its purpose. But I think collectively we have to come together and get a little real and get a little vulnerable with each other and recognize that that final mission that we're on now is home. That final mission, it doesn't have an end date. We're always returning home to ourselves and our family, our community.
Yeah, and of course, really important to make sure that that is a mission that everybody feels like that they can do properly and supported. Do you think that there's enough supports out there in community right now?
I think there are supports that are available. Veterans Affairs obviously has got supports available. I think there's a little bit of a pride piece that comes into play when it requires actually reaching out to Veterans Affairs for their support and transparency and vulnerability so they can give you what you need. I think there are veterans that are out there that their hearts are in the right place. They're there wanting to connect. There are smaller entities, smaller groups, nonprofits, where veterans are recognizing the need that we need each other, that we need community.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Retired Sergeant Cheryl LeBlanc, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck on that book.